David clutched the worn photograph. It was creased, faded, but his mother's face still shone through. Her eyes, filled with a love he clung to, stared back at him. He remembered her touch, soft and warm, and on her hand, a small, heart-shaped birthmark, a mark as unique as their bond. It had been years since she was gone, years since fate cruelly separated them. Years he spent yearning for her. He remembered the day she disappeared, the fear, the confusion, the emptiness that followed. He was just a boy then, small and scared. He held on to the memories, the sound of her laughter, the scent of her perfume, but most of all, he held on to the hope of seeing her again. He knew, deep down, she wouldn't have left him willingly. He searched for her everywhere, asked everyone. But his mother had vanished, leaving nothing but a void in his life. The years rolled by, turning the boy into a man. Yet the hope in his heart refused to die. He carried her memory with him, a bittersweet ache in his chest. The birthmark, he would know it anywhere. It was a symbol of their connection, a silent promise etched in his memory. He searched faces in crowds, his heart leaping at the slightest resemblance. Each disappointment chipped away at his hope, but he couldn't give up. He wouldn't. He owed it to her, to the love they shared. Years turned into a decade. Then another. David never stopped looking. He'd seen her face on missing posters in his dreams. He chased shadows and whispers, each dead end a sharp pang of despair. The pain of her absence never dulled. It lingered, a constant shadow in his life. He walked the streets, his heart heavy. Every homeless person he saw sparked a flicker of hope, quickly extinguished by the harsh reality. He imagined her lost and alone, her face etched with worry. The thought fueled his determination. He had to find her. He wouldn't let her face the world alone. One cold evening, he found himself in a familiar part of the city, the park where he used to play as a child, the park where he last saw his mother. A wave of sadness washed over him, threatening to drown him in memories. He closed his eyes, picturing her face, the heart-shaped birthmark, a beacon in his mind. He had to believe she was out there, somewhere. He opened his eyes, determined to keep searching. He wouldn't let the pain consume him. He would find her. He had to. As he walked, his eyes scanned the faces around him. Homeless people huddled on benches, seeking solace from the encroaching darkness. His heart ached for them, for their struggles, for their lost connections. He knew their pain all too well. Then he saw her, sitting on a bench, her back to him. Her hair, once vibrant, was now streaked with gray. Her clothes were worn, her shoulders slumped, but it was her hand, resting on her knee, that stole his breath away. The heart-shaped birthmark. It couldn't be. Could it? He approached cautiously, his heart pounding in his chest. He didn't dare to hope, not yet. He had been tricked by fate before. But as he got closer, he saw her profile, the curve of her nose, the shape of her chin. It was her, his mother. Mom? The word escaped his lips before he could stop it. It was a whisper, choked with emotion. The woman turned, her face etched with years of hardship. Her eyes, once filled with warmth, seemed clouded, distant. But as her gaze fell on David, a flicker of recognition sparked in their depths. David, her voice, was a raspy whisper, barely audible, but it was her voice, the voice he had yearned to hear for so long. He knelt before her, tears welling up in his eyes. He reached out, his hand trembling, and gently touched her cheek. It was real. She was real.